I'm Raymond Bobgan. I'm the Executive Artistic Director at Cleveland Public Theater. This spring I'm directing a play called Requiem by Hannah Levin, and starring in that play as the old man is Peter Lawson Jones.
I've clearly been not typecast because the title of the character is named the character is the old man. And it's evident to everybody I'm not an old man.
Yeah, it's gonna be a stretch. It's gonna be a stretch.
That's why they call it acting.
So, Peter, I wanted to ask you a question. If you walk into Cleveland Public Theater, in our main theater, over the grand staircase, there is a mural, and it has some important people that have played a life in the role of the theater. And you're up there.
What?
You're up in the mural. Tell me a little bit
I've been
about...
immortalized.
Yeah, you've been immortalized in the mural. Tell me, what's your
If
connection
I die
with
tomorrow,
CPT?
I'll be at ease because of that mural.
Yeah.
Well, gosh, my relationship with CPT, one could argue, goes back all the way to high school, because the founder of CPT, James Levin, was a high school classmate and still a very good friend of mine. And I remember when I was in the state legislature, providing some funding, helping to funnel some money to Cleveland Public Theater for capital improvements. And then it's just been a pleasure to work with you over the last 15 years at least, serving on your kitchen cabinet, we might say, and also having, I think I've performed here twice in a couple of productions. I've helped out with a couple of pandemoniums or pandemonia. So I've had a long-standing relationship with CPT and with both James and with you.
Oh no!
Why the heck did you choose me to play the old man? Hey, could you rename him the slightly elderly man?
No, because it's well, when I first of all, this is a play I've been thinking about for a long time. Israel Wiener, who works with the Cleveland-Israel Arts Connection for the Jewish Federation of Cleveland. He introduced me to this playwright, not personally, but to the works. And I went to travel to Israel a couple times and interview people who were in the show, and I was just studying it. And I kept thinking, like, who in the world am I going to get to play the old man? And I think it was actually on my last trip to Israel, and I was there, and I think we were corresponding about something, and I went, oh my gosh, the answer's right in front of me.
You had the epiphany
in Israel. While in Israel, and I just thought, wow, this would be perfect. I'm looking for someone who, the old man is, he is a little grumbly, which you're not really very grumbly, but at the same time, he's so passionate, and he's on the verge of anger sometimes about what he sees as injustice, and the injustice of the facts of life, of just like having to die and all these things. And
I think he has a line to that effect. How could it be instilled in the design of the world that man should be given life just once, but it all goes by so pointlessly?
Yeah.
And he's greatly frustrated and angered about that.
And at the same time, he has to be charismatic. Otherwise, the audience is just going to be like, why are we watching this jerk? And so you are perfect.
Well, I've got to admit that the age I am, I do think about mortality a lot more than I did 10, 20, 30, and 40 years ago. And I've said on a few occasions that I thought I would live forever until my father passed, because my dad is still my hero to this day, my mom, my shero, and he was a Tuskegee Airman, played the Negro baseball leagues, had a number of pioneering breakthroughs in his life, and was just so uber talented. And then I thought, if somebody that great can pass on and transition, then I guess that's my fate as well.
Wow, yeah.
So I felt a lot more reflective about life, about why we're here and what we need to do while we're here, and much more cognizant that it does end with the death of my dad and then my mom.
Yeah. Wow, that's deep. Thank you for sharing that. So I was at this movie, you might be familiar with it, called A Man Called Otto.
I've heard it's a great movie.
It is a great movie. and as I was watching it, I kept thinking, oh, there's some interesting parallels here. Wow, tell me about what your experience was working on that movie, and then do you think you're going to bring any of that into the room on stage here?
Well, first, it was just a magnificent experience in every respect. I mean, to have a significant role in a movie that's made well north of $100 million, and to perform with Tom Hanks, and under the direction of Mark Forster, that's a gift. Yeah. That's a blessing. And both of those men have such generous spirits. They're geniuses. And the environment, there was one of the crew members I overheard saying, this is the best set I've ever worked on. And the tone for what happens on a set, as you know, the tone for what happens on the stage is really established by the director and the lead actors. And those are the ones who make it feel like a family and make people feel at home. So it was an ideal circumstance in which to be creative. And
no pressure.
You just have to be as good as Mark Forster. I think you're up to it. But yeah, there certainly are parallels between the Otto character and the old man. You could tell in both of their lives there was a significant glimmer of hope that over time became extinguished. They're both grieving. They're both a little bit cantankerous. They're both very cantankerous. And so there are some similarities in those two characters. And so that's one reason, amongst many, why I was able to connect so easily with the character. The first time I read the script, I said, man, if I can remember all the lines, this is something I want to do. So, because I think it is a beautiful character, and there's an arc to the story. And he takes the journey from where the old man, from where he starts out, kind of insensitive to his wife, who's dying, insensitive to the world around him, missing connections, and towards the end, he's connecting with one character after another. He's connecting with the young mother. He's connecting in an interesting way with the doctor. He's trying to get connection with the doctor, with the medic. Yeah. So I see a lot of similarities between the characters. And so I think that having been in A Man Called Otto, it does allow me to bring a little bit more to the role than I might have otherwise.
That's cool. So let me ask you another question.
Okay.
There's kind of a divide. At least in my high school, there was sort of like the theater people and the sports people, and there was a little bit of overlap. But you've been here in Cleveland, and sports are such an important part. So I wanted to know,
who was I in high school?
Yeah, who were you in high school? If I remember correctly, you used to have a little pickup game going on.
Oh my goodness!
In Cleveland. So tell me about your connection to sports and Cleveland sports, and do you have a favorite team?
Well, the truth is that I played full court basketball with players a third my age until I was 65, and then the body finally said no mas. Yeah. And then after that, I had both of my knee joints replaced, and so it was clearly no more basketball. I even played in an adult baseball, hardball league until I was in my early 50s, and then another ailment derailed me because I started developing double vision. And you dare not play baseball when you're suffering with double vision. It's perilous if you try it. So when I was in high school, somehow I've always felt like I'm a man with no country, but then again of many countries. Because I had a lot of interactions with the student council crowd, with the sports,
wonder what that
with the sport. Yeah, funny that should have been a predicate in your life. And also, I was on the football team, and I was on the track team. And although at the age of 10, amongst the things I wanted to be, I thought when I grew up, was an actor, I didn't do any acting in junior high or high school. Wow. It was not until college when my college roommate was in a play and one afternoon asked me, if you aren't doing anything, why don't you come over to rehearsal with me? I went over to rehearsal with him. The director hadn't cast all the roles, so to be polite, I said, and also because I did like the concept of acting, I said, look, I'll read the roles for you just to help you get through rehearsal. At the end of rehearsal, it says, hey, would you like to play this in our production? I said, yeah, okay. Cool. That's how I got started acting. So
back to sports, you got a favorite team? Or no?
I have favorite players.
There you go.
I have favorite players. I mean, you're Cleveland. Of course, you like Cleveland teams, but hopefully this isn't a heresy. But Steph Curry of the Golden State Warriors reminds me of my oldest son. They're about the same age, around the same height, even the same amount of melanin. And my oldest son, played varsity basketball and baseball at Shaker, and had, if he'd gone to Division III school, he could have played college ball, and he liked to shoot the three-point shot. Yeah. So, kind of Steph Curry, I feel like he's, my son from another father and mother.
All right, that's beautiful. I don't have a good reason for my favorite, but mine would be Myles Garrett, just because.
Myles Garrett, well,
yeah,
he's big and he's impressive.
He just disrupts everything.
And
he
you're
just destroys people's plans.
A disruptive force, as you have been in theater in the Cleveland.
I try not to destroy people's plans, but he does.